Movie thoughts. Alice Through the Looking Glass is the sequel, or prequel if you look at it from some point of views, of Alice in Wonderland from 2010. It has the same cast. The only big change is the director. That of, instead of being Tim Burton, is actually directed by James Bobbin, who actually recently directed the Most Wanted Muppets movie, which I haven't seen, but I've heard very bad things about. So this is his second undertaking, taking on a franchise and trying to live up to the first film. Now, I say that the first Alice in Wonderland is actually kind of not very well looked at by critics and audiences. It's probably got something like 60% on Rotten Tomatoes and that sort of thing. So most people are a bit about the first film. I am one of the few peoples that will go on record and saying I actually really like the first film. I think it's generally really enjoyable to watch. It was a fun movie when I went to go and see it, and when I watched it and sat down in the cinema, and I have watched it a few times since, I still kind of enjoy it. I don't think it's a perfect movie. It has a lot of flaws, but I do enjoy it. So, that being said, I was kind of looking forward to Alice Through the Looking Glass. But at the same time, I was also thinking, do we really need a sequel? And I think that's pretty much what a lot of people have been saying. The answer to that is, no, we don't. We don't need a sequel. The sequel, or the prequel, as it messes with time on a massive scale, and because it messes with time, you get a bunch of time puns, which I hate. I hate puns, I can't do them, no! Why? Because it messes with time, it actually ends up being a prequel to a lot of the characters from the first film. It shows their story arcs and their story development, which leads it into a lot of the first film, and you're supposed to get a lot more depth. But really, all it does is just mess up a very convoluted story and doesn't really show it in the way that it should be and can be shown. For instance, the plot of this story is effectively about Alice going back to Wonderland and finding out that the Mad Hatter is sad because he suddenly realises that he has a family and he's forgotten about the family, but they're not there anymore. And I don't know, I don't write this. So Alice then goes on a journey through time, because why not? Why not shove time in there somehow? She effectively goes back and tries to save the Mad Hatter's family. That's the main plot. There are other subplots that involve the Red Queen and the White Queen, and how when they were kids something happened and the Red Queen's still really angry about it, and the White Queen is not really that bothered. Time is played by Sacha Baron Cohen. Actually, thinking about this, I've literally just noticed this has at least 3 of the cast of Les Mis, and that was a really good film. I like that film. So it's got Sacha Baron Cohen as Time, and he plays it very over the top. I don't know, how do you portray Time? He doesn't really do it that well. He tries to put a lot of comedy in there and it falls flat. It actually looks like that he's acting against green screen, which is what he is doing. So I've got nothing against Sacha Baron Cohen, and I'm not going to completely talk on the director. I mean, it takes a lot of energy and time and effort and motivation and will and money to direct a film, right? But this is just the company, the movie company that's just said, hey, we've made a bunch of money off the first one, let's make a bunch of money off this next one, let's just pump out any old all we can. That's literally what they're doing. Anne Hathaway as the White Queen, kind of a bit boring, as she was in the first one. I didn't like her there either. And you've also got Helena Bonham Carter as the Red Queen, which is the same as she was in the first one. Literally, there are no character developments. Johnny Depp is the Mad Hatter. He is exactly the same, apart from he's a little bit more sad. And that's pretty much the whole film, is just them going through time. Now, direction-wise, as I was saying earlier, I do really appreciate, a director. A director has a lot of things to do. They've got to tell a story, and they've got a lot of things to think about. I just feel that the actor's direction, the character's direction, the lighting, the shots, it all fell a bit flat. So there wasn't really muchness, and I'm going to steal that from the actual film, because there wasn't muchness about this film, you see. For me, I think that the source material is actually brilliant. Okay, I've not read any of the books, but I love the idea of this whole Wonderland and a little girl finding things that she only thought were possible in her imagination. This obviously has a massive cult following, Alice in Wonderland, because when I was going to the cinema today at 12 noon, there were people dressed up. At 12 noon on a... Wait, is it Friday? It's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. I'm well ahead of my days. 12 noon on a Friday during the week, they went dressed up as the Mad Hatter, there was the Cheshire Cat, there was a bloke dressed as Alice with a dress on and hairy legs. I was more fascinated by that than the film, actually. These characters stand out, and people want to portray them, and people want to see these characters, and I just don't think that this film does a very good job of it. I think it gets very, very lost, and that is a shame. So, because of the whole story kind of falling short, and because of the direction feeling flat and boring, and I kind of did sit there almost falling asleep through bits of it, and I don't like using that because that feels very harsh to say it, but it's not really a film that you should put your money into, because all you're doing, if you go to see this film, all you're doing is just funding this that's coming out. That's all that's happening. This is a sequel. Why do we need a sequel to Alice in Wonderland? Alice in Wonderland was actually really good. In my opinion, I thought it was really good. It didn't need another one. The only reason I went to the cinema is because I've got a free pass for a year to go to the cinema and see whatever film I want. So that's why I went. I haven't put any money to this film. I'm fine with that. If you have that decision to go to see this film, don't, because they're just going to be pumping more and more out. Instead, you should probably go and see Civil War again, or I don't know, something else, whatever else is out this weekend. I know that The Nice Guys is coming out soon, and that looks really good. I really want to see The Nice Guys. That I'm expecting that to be brilliant. Out of 10, I give this a 5 out of 10. Yeah, it was flat, it was boring, it didn't really do anything for me. I'm sorry. I'm probably going to get a bit of stick for saying that I liked the first film, but I didn't like this one. 5 out of 10. It's a middling score. The only reason it wasn't shorter than that and less than that was because I guess it was a story and it actually had a plot. That's what I can give it there. I just knocked my glass of water. Yeah. So anyway, guys, thank you very much, and I hope to see you next time, even though I'm not actually looking at you. That would be weird. Until next time, guys.